It started, as many modern political earthquakes do, with a single tweet. On a crisp Monday morning, just past 7 a.m., Elon Musk posted a cryptic message on his X account, formerly Twitter, that immediately ignited the internet. Some of you still don't understand what really happened in 2016. I'll explain. Buckle up. The post racked up over 10 million views in an hour. No context, no follow-up. Just that chilling promise. Cable news scrambled. Analysts speculated. And in private DC corridors, aides to both parties began frantically messaging one another. At 9:13 a.m., Musk returned with the second blow. It's not a conspiracy theory if it's in the emails. Ask yourself why Hillary met with someone 3 days before the DOJ moved. Then ask who arranged the meeting. That's when things really spiraled. The post included a redacted calendar screenshot, allegedly from a Clinton Foundation server, hinting at a meeting with a powerful tech intermediary. Suddenly, it wasn't just political Twitter. It was the FBI, the DOJ, and yes, even former President Barack Obama who was said to be briefed immediately. And according to one off-the-record source in his inner circle, Barack just stared at the screen. Said nothing for 30 seconds. Then muttered, he actually went there. By noon, the media floodgates had burst open. CNN brought on 2 former intelligence officials. Fox News ran a cherin that simply read, Musk versus Clinton, the files unlocked. Even the New York Times cautiously broke its silence, citing an unverified document that could raise new questions about prior communications between federal authorities and political actors. But behind the cameras, in the elite members-only Westwood Club in D.C., something more telling unfolded. A quiet emergency meeting was called. Present were 4 individuals, 2 former senior DOJ officials, a current White House tech liaison, and, according to a very reluctant valet who later leaked everything, a well-known Clinton family advisor. The meeting wasn't scheduled. No digital trace. No public record. They're treating this like a national security breach, the valet said. Not because of what was posted, but because they don't know what else he has. That was the growing fear across Washington, not that Elon Musk had made a bold claim, but that he wasn't bluffing. By 3 p.m. Elon posted again, they never thought I'd be in the room. I was. And I remember everything. That's when the Obama team reportedly reached out, directly. At 4:07 p.m. Elon Musk received a call routed through a secure channel, an unusual method even for someone of his stature. The voice on the other end? Former President Barack Obama. The call lasted only 3 minutes, but its tone was serious, almost personal. Elon, Obama reportedly said, you need to understand the difference between revealing a truth and detonating a system. Musk's reply, according to someone briefed afterward, was cold, with all due respect, Mr. President, the system detonated itself. I'm just turning the lights on. That brief exchange set off alarms in every federal monitoring room tuned into high-level chatter. Musk wasn't just hinting at corruption, he was declaring war on selective memory and sealed files. By evening, #Clinton Files and #ElonDrop were trending worldwide. Musk's next post was a scanned, declassified form, time-stamped, signed, and authenticated, showing that he had, in fact, been present during a meeting tied to both a DOJ scheduling shift and a private security firm contracted through a now-defunct tech shell. Names were redacted, but the initials HRC were not. Panic hit mainstream outlets. Legal analysts couldn't keep up. And in a dimly lit suite overlooking Manhattan, someone on Hillary Clinton's advisory team made a single call, activate containment mode. He's forcing our hand. By 6:30 p.m., the Clinton team was fully mobilized. Without addressing Elon Musk by name, Hillary's spokesperson released a tight, lawyer-approved statement to major networks. There have been decades of baseless accusations, and every time, the facts speak louder than digital noise. Secretary Clinton has nothing to hide. But within Clinton's inner circle, things weren't so composed. One advisor reportedly shouted during a closed call, why didn't we bury this deeper? Another asked if Elon had access to the server mirror they'd long believed was wiped. Panic mingled with disbelief. They'd underestimated him, not as a tech mogul, but as a tactician. That night, a familiar face entered the game. John Brennan, former CIA director, appeared on MSNBC. With a composed but visibly tense expression, he said, "People need to be careful. There are lines, even in freedom of information, that protect national stability." To many watching, it felt like a warning. Musk, unfazed, replied with another tweet by 7:42 p.m., "National stability doesn't come from secrecy. It comes from truth. If that scares people, maybe they were never fit to lead." Then he added a file name. One that sent DC into digital lockdown, HRCPR 12 PHNX MTG spec.pdf, and the caption, "Dropping it tomorrow at noon. Unless they stop me." Overnight, Washington transformed into a pressure cooker. Encrypted chats among journalists, late-night meetings at Langley, and an emergency conference call between senior Democratic strategists made one thing clear: if Musk followed through with the promised drop at noon, something irreversible might be unleashed. The file name, HRCPR 12 PHNX MTG spec.pdf, was quickly dissected by internet sleuths. PHNX was decoded by many to mean Phoenix, Arizona. Some remembered rumors from 2016 about an unscheduled meeting on a private tarmac involving a high-ranking DOJ official and someone from Clinton's circle. Most dismissed it as coincidence back then. But now, it felt like a fuse had been lit. At 8:13 a.m., Hillary Clinton broke her silence directly. On live TV, standing before a group of students at a university in New York, she said, "We've reached a point where people with massive platforms believe speculation is more powerful than service. I've spent my life fighting for this country. I'm not afraid of shadows, or billionaires." The statement drew applause. But the tension was unshakable. Everyone was waiting for noon. Meanwhile, Obama's team reportedly sent word through intermediaries, "Delay it. Just 24 hours. Let this cool." Elon's reply came at 9:06 a.m. This time, not as a tweet, but as a short video posted to X. In the clip, he looked directly into the camera and said, "The world has a right to know what decisions were made behind closed doors, especially when they shaped justice, elections, and trust. This isn't about politics. This is about the truth." Then came the final line, "See you at noon." As the digital clock struck 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, more than 50 million users across the globe refreshed Elon Musk's X profile simultaneously. The post landed like a thunderclap. Card index dividers download, HRCPR 12 PHNX MTG spec.pdf. This is the document they never thought would resurface. It's real. It's time-stamped. It's signed. And yes, I was there. Within seconds, the server slowed from traffic. But users who managed to open the file found 17 pages of internal memoranda, calendar entries, and a short transcript. The contents? Nothing short of incendiary. A private meeting at the Phoenix airport. June 27, 2016. Attendees, a former president, a senior DOJ official, and a special guest representing the Clinton Transition Group, a name redacted but unmistakably tied to the foundation through metadata. The purpose? According to one line in the transcript, discussing the timing and public messaging around the Bureau's next procedural step. One email attachment, with red stamps and an internal DOJ header, read, "Messaging must align, no direct reference to subpoenas until after convention week." It wasn't outright proof of interference, but it strongly suggested coordination. Something the American public was never meant to see. Newsrooms erupted. The White House communications director was pulled out of a briefing mid-sentence. Across social media, words like cover-up, election meddling, and justice manipulation exploded into trending tags. And while Clinton's team scrambled, Obama's response finally came, quiet, calculated. He posted a single sentence to his social media platforms at 12:39 p.m. We all owe the truth, but we also owe it responsibly. Interpret it how you want. America already had. By 1 p.m., chaos had fully taken hold across Washington. Senators from both parties were demanding hearings. Legal commentators were calling it one of the most significant unofficial disclosures in modern U.S. political history. Even normally cautious anchors began using phrases like potential legal exposure and undermining institutional integrity. Inside the Clinton camp, damage control had become damage containment. Hillary's lawyers issued a sharp cease and desist to Musk's legal team, citing unauthorized possession of privileged government materials. Elon, predictably, didn't flinch. Instead, he posted a new message at 1:22 p.m., "The documents are authentic. Verified. And I'm just getting started." They never expected someone in the room to have a photographic memory and his own copy. Then he included another file name, CLNTINTL, 7X, memo, VN, extra. PDF the caption, "Time to talk about foreign interests." 3 p.m. drop. That one hit a nerve. Because VN wasn't hard to guess, Venezuela. A country long whispered about in back-channel accusations involving global donations and blurred financial trails. In response, for the first time in years, the Clinton Foundation went into complete lockdown mode. Access to several donor databases was reportedly restricted. Staff were told to avoid all press contact. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, Speaker of the House called for an urgent bipartisan inquiry into the newly surfaced allegations. And as 3 p.m. approached, a single phrase began trending everywhere: "What else does Musk have?" At exactly 3 p.m., Elon Musk delivered. The second file, CLNINTL, 7X, memo, VN, extra.pdf, hit X with a brief but chilling preface: "Not all donations are what they appear to be. Not all relief efforts are innocent. Here's the part they never wanted public." The document was smaller, only 8 pages, but the implications were massive. Among the files was a memo marked confidential from a private intermediary consulting group, dated 2015, outlining strategic philanthropic partnerships in Latin America. Venezuela was at the top of the list. One section read, "Pending confirmation of direct deposit from Caracas representative, funds should be routed through intermediary NGO as discussed. Public messaging, agricultural relief. Internal purpose, pending." Another attachment included a summary of an off-the-books meeting, this time not involving DOJ, but representatives from 2 international oil firms and a U.S. political campaign staffer. No names, but once again, metadata left behind unintentional fingerprints. The explosive part? A one-line email buried on page 6, donor requested assurance this favor will remain linked to promised policy softening. No exposure. No trail. That was all the public needed. By 3:20 p.m. the House Oversight Committee issued a formal request for an emergency briefing. Prominent journalists were already boarding last-minute flights to Washington. International media picked up the story, with headlines like, "Did U.S. politicians trade influence for oil?" BBC, "Musk drops D.C. in deep crisis with foreign funding leak." Le Monde, "Clinton Foundation under global fire after Elon Musk bombshell." Al Jazeera. Meanwhile, Barack Obama made a private call, to someone very high up, asking only one thing, according to a close source: is this the end of the unraveling, or just the start? By late afternoon, the entire political landscape felt like it was tilting. The second leak had moved the conversation beyond domestic ethics. Now, foreign policy, international law, and national security were in play. Quietly, legal analysts began debating terms like unregistered lobbying, unauthorized diplomacy, and even quid pro quo arrangements tied to campaign infrastructure. But Elon Musk didn't stop. At 4:11 p.m., he posted a new message, short, but ominous: this wasn't just a political scandal. It was a network. A playbook. And they used it more than once. That message included a short teaser video. In it, a blurred-out meeting room appears, with muffled voices and a visible silhouette, matching the posture of a very recognizable U.S. political figure. A timestamp at the bottom read June 2, 2014. The video ends with the words, "Next file, 6 p.m., the blueprint." Back in Washington, several legal teams began advising clients to retain outside counsel. Former State Department staffers were suddenly unavailable for interviews. An encrypted email leak appeared on a small but credible journalist Substack, claiming Musk had 3 more drops queued, each focusing on different parts of the network, the blueprint, internal memos describing how political influence was structured and deployed, the backchannel, evidence of off-grid communications between senior campaign staff and foreign contractors, the bargain, alleged documentation of policy leverage in exchange for overseas donor backing as pressure built. Clinton's inner circle split into 2 camps, those who urged her to sue Musk for defamation and breach and those who quietly asked, what if he has even more? That evening, behind closed doors, a senior Obama aide made a phone call to Musk's team. The message? He needs to stop. Before someone tries to stop him. At 6 p.m. sharp, Elon Musk fulfilled his promise, this time with calculated precision. The post included a download link to the blueprint_final PDF, alongside a caption that stunned the world, "This is how the game was played. Names redacted, for now." The document was unlike the others. It wasn't just a dump, it was structured like a presentation. Slides, bullet points, internal talking notes. It outlined a multi-phase strategy used over multiple election cycles, describing how influence could be extended through non-governmental affiliates, media echo partnerships, and foreign goodwill fronts. Some of the chilling excerpts: Slide 3, Donor Flow Foundation Strategic Messaging Policy Nudge, Slide 6, Target States, AZ, PA, MI, focus on localized economic relief messaging tied to soft diplomacy interests. Slide 9, Avoid paper trails. Leverage speaking fees, contracts, and secondary NGO pathways. One note scribbled in the margins, visible from a scanned page, read, "Too much visibility on Venezuela, shift focus to West Africa for Q3." Even with names redacted, it was clear that this wasn't a theory, it was a coordinated framework. Within 30 minutes of the drop, 3 Senate committee members issued joint statements calling for a full forensic investigation into past foreign entanglements tied to political foundations. Clinton's legal team responded in fury, accusing Musk of releasing stolen property, endangering diplomatic protocols, spreading dangerous political fiction disguised as fact. But the public sentiment had shifted. It wasn't just about Clinton anymore. Eyes were now scanning for who else was involved, who benefited, and who looked the other way. Obama's team remained silent, but reporters confirmed that 2 Secret Service vehicles had arrived unannounced at Musk's Texas compound earlier that evening. Their purpose? Unknown. As the sun set, Elon posted once more. "Tomorrow, the back channel. If you thought today was loud, wait until the wires come alive." At 9 a.m. the next morning, Elon Musk delivered the final and most devastating installment. File name, backchannel scam priority.zip. Caption, they didn't use phones. They didn't use email. They used something else. And I have the logs. The contents? Over 300 pages of communication transcripts pulled from a now-defunct encrypted messaging app tied to private satellite relays, an obscure internal platform believed to have been funded by a government-adjacent tech grant, years before it became mainstream. These weren't traditional emails or texts. They were real-time logs from devices with scrubbed IDs, yet the messages were chillingly specific. Messages like, "The AG's people will delay announcement. Tell HRC she can proceed with Thursday's presser." And, "Foreign support is ready," carried through third party as discussed. Same structure as 2012. But the one that caused true panic: if Musk gets curious, distract with media flair. He wasn't supposed to keep the backup. Within hours, internet forums exploded. Names were decoded through context, patterns, and voice cadence files Musk embedded through metadata. It painted a picture of coordinated manipulation, using NGOs, foundations, media surrogates, and even bureaucrats to maneuver the system for years. The Clinton Foundation, the DOJ, and even members from past administrations were implicated in using encrypted backchannels to choreograph influence campaigns both domestic and foreign. Then Musk went live. In a quiet, serious 10-minute live stream viewed by 120 million people, he said, "This was never about one person. This is about a pattern. A pattern of power being used in the dark, by the people who claim to stand in the light. I've shown you the receipts. What happens now, is up to you." By evening, congressional investigations had officially launched. Several international governments opened inquiries into donations made through U.S. development programs. Prominent figures lawyered up. Others disappeared from public view. And Barack Obama? He released a simple statement through his foundation: "History is made by those willing to face the mirror. Some just choose to break it instead." But nothing would be the same again. Because Elon Musk hadn't just dropped a bombshell, he cracked open the vault.